Hello, lovely humans. Welcome to another homesteading podcast because I talked too much in the first one that this is part 2. Are we surprised? No. None of us are surprised. I feel like I have a topic and then I have a Q&A. Topic and then Q&A. So here we are with the second half of our homesteading episode. Good thing this is a podcast, right? No one's looking. No one's watching the videos. Just kidding. I know you're watching the videos. I see you. Caroline V33. I love these podcasts. 2 exclamation points. I honestly feel like I'm just FaceTiming / on a phone call with a friend. I laugh, I cry. It makes my whole day. I look forward to these and it makes me so proud of you. Caroline, thank you. Thank you for being here. Sometimes it just feels good because it does feel like I'm just sitting down chatting with a friend. So if you want to be like Caroline and Caroline, leave me a 5-star review. That'd be awesome. That'd be so cool. I would really appreciate it. But enough about me. Without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. I did ask you guys over on Instagram what questions you had about homesteading, so I just want to touch on a few of those. Recommendations for getting started raising chickens. Well, I mean, you could do it the way we did it, just get it and figure it out later. I find that if they're given the ability to roam, as long as they're protected from predators, have a place to hide, should a hawk fly by or something, if they're given the freedom to roam, they'll just be the happiest birds. They don't really get sick. We haven't had a lot of problems with ours. We've had a couple of respiratory things, but I can count those on one hand. So getting started, make sure you have a safe coop for them to sleep in at night and make sure you have enough room for them to wander around. But honestly, chickens are so easy. Chickens are the gateway drug, dude. You can just make sure they got a good coop, make sure they have a place to explore, and then let them do their thing. How did you get started or decide homesteading was right for your family? Well, like I talked about earlier, Elias had grown up with it and I'd always wanted it. And we knew that we could probably sustain it, especially when we first got started. Our sole income was coming from my courses and my online work. So Elias was home. So it was all of us. It was all hands on deck and we could just kind of, do whatever we wanted. Oh, I haven't even touched on gardening. Probably because I suck at it. So maybe that'll be a topic for another time. So it just felt natural. Like we knew we'd talked about wanting this for years. So when we got this property, it was like, okay, here we go. So how we got started, we always got the animals before the enclosures were finished. We still don't have full property fencing, which I do in hindsight. I think like that needed to be prioritized. However, knowing us, we probably never would have gotten it done and we would have gotten the animals. So yes, while we did our way was a little bit backwards, it just made sense for our family. What are some resources you use to get started / research? Y'all, Instagram accounts like crazy. Like Weed 'em and Reap is a great resource for goats. I watch her channel all the time. Honestly, Google. I tend to Google general care beforehand. And then when issues arise, I Google more then. For goats, I have a mentor on hand. The guy that we got Rosie from and our first dozen hens and our rooster from, he is fantastic. He's owned goats for way longer than I have. And so he is my goat mentor. And I am actually now a goat mentor for other people. So they'll come to me with their goat questions because I'm just a couple steps ahead of them. So I think having the goat mentor thing for me was like huge. Just having somebody to call, even if it's someone that you purchased a goat from, is astronomically helpful. Game changer. Is there a plan for more land or more animals? Yeah, I would say leaving this property would be definitely bittersweet, but still some sweetness to it because that just one neighbor just makes it miserable. And we are pretty limited on what we can do here because it is only 2.25 acres. If we had more space, we'd probably raise up our own meat cows. And I wonder if we would switch to a dairy cow, even though right now for us, Nigerian dwarves make the most sense because they're not going to be picky about what they eat, not as picky as a cow would. And we just have a whole variety of forage here that works really well with goat. So in the future, yeah, I think like a minimum of 10 acres would be cool because then we could rotate larger ruminant animals, cows. If we upgrade the size of our goats, we'll need more space. I would like to have a horse of my own one day. We obviously got these 2 for the kids. But I want everyone to be like, where's mom? Oh, she's out on the horses again. I just want to just exist on the back of a horse. I think that just sounds like the most dreamy thing in the whole entire world. What are your future goals for the homestead? I want to finish the garden. Like right now, the walkways aren't finished. We would like to install sprinklers and we would like to do whole property fencing. Those are 3 big things that we got going on right now because now we have water and power to multiple places across the property. Elias just installed that, although he still technically has to pull power, but we've got the conduit in place. So we're really kind of fine tuning things at this point. The garden is the last. The garden and then like the full fencing is like the last big hurdle on that one. How is the meat chicken situation going? It's going. Our Brahmas and our Jersey Giants are still growing up. And once they're big enough and start laying eggs is when we'll kind of try to decide, do we want to start incubating immediately? Do we want to separate them into their own little thing, like their own little coop? So we only get eggs from them and we only incubate those. Yeah. So right now they're still young enough that it's not a concern yet. Is there anything you would change or do differently now that you are a few years into homesteading? Fencing. Electric fencing is temporary at best. We run into a lot of issues with it. You're going to run into fencing issues no matter what kind of fencing you put up, barbed wire, cattle panels, no climb, welded wire, all of them have their own set of issues, but fencing is so important, especially when we have cranky neighbors, especially when we live right next to a highway and because we've lost an animal because of that. Like fencing is everything. And I didn't realize that. It's also unbelievably expensive to take care of the animals. All of the animals except for the horses are on organic feed because we consume things from them, the milk or the eggs. And right now we are looking at our finances going, do we need to switch? Do we genuinely, do we need to switch away from organic so we can afford to keep these animals? Because it's hard. I mean, we're talking over $1,000 a month to care for the animals. Yeah, easily. How do you manage the homestead tasks while also working and homeschooling? This could probably be like a whole separate conversation. The girls do morning and evening chores with the majority of the animals. I handle the garden and Elias handles a lot of big things or fixes that need to happen around the property. So we kind of split up duties. Since I'm the only one working in the garden, that's kind of my focus, and the girls handle most of the animal chores. Silas is just now getting some added onto his plate. As far as working is concerned, I probably work like 3 hours a day. And I don't work every day, Monday through Friday, probably just Monday through Thursday. So grand total, I don't work a lot of hours. I get my homeschooling done in the morning with Silas and the girls. Then I work my hours, and then I have the afternoon and evening free to do regular homemaking stuff, laundry, dinner, dishes, etc. Do you keep any of the baby goats? We do not, specifically because we keep their dad. We have the same buck. So we don't think we really have a ton of room for a lot more goats on our property. We're kind of at a good pace right now with what we have and rotating them around, etc. And two, because if we have the same buck, they can't breed. It's called line breeding, and it should not happen between father and daughter. And the only reason we'd keep more around would be more does for more milk. Because again, like I said, we're getting 1/2 gallon a day, which suits our needs until it starts to taper off. And then we're like, oh, shoot, this is kind of a bummer. I wish we had a little bit more because we get so spoiled by consuming so much that we start to go through it real quick. Will you be doing any seed saving from what you grew this year? No, none at all. At all whatsoever. Actually, that's not my plan. I have plenty of seeds that I still have left. Seed saving sounds really cool. Like I love the concept of it, but I feel a little tapped out right now with everything that's going on. So I will not be trying that or implementing that this year. No. What animals first? Chickens. Always chickens. Start with chickens. Gateway drug. Favorite thing to make? Goat cheese. Nothing makes me feel more like a domestic goddess than slinging some goat cheese through some cheesecloth. Actually, it's butter muslin. And this year I found organic butter muslin. So I am obnoxious. Nobody listen to me. Hardest part, not being able to go places. Yeah, that's discouraging sometimes, especially when it costs so much and it's cost so much to leave to find the right sitter and everything. Yeah, it's just a lot. Yeah, I wish we could take vacations more easily, but we just can't. Do you think it would be possible to complete your level of homesteading with a traditional 9-to-5? I think so. Absolutely. I would say that the animals overall, once we have our schedule and our rhythm down, don't take that much daily care. In fact, I follow several homesteading accounts that's exactly what they do. They still have a 9-to-5. So in the morning, I'd say at its peak, it takes about 10 minutes per goat to milk them out from grabbing them, getting them on the stand, milking them out, getting them back. That whole process takes about 10 minutes per goat. So 40 minutes of milking for us. If you have a milk cow, that probably would be a little bit shorter. I think it's about 20 minutes to milk one cow out. And then it's just moving the goats and monitoring feed and water. So the day-to-day is really not difficult. It's more making availability for when big things need to happen. That can be a little bit more time consuming, like when electric fencing breaks or, when a repair needs to be done on the power for the horses electric. It's all the electric fencing, guys. So as long as you're okay with dedicating your off time to bigger projects like that, because they're gonna pop up. Yeah, I think it's completely possible with the 9 to 5. So that's all we have for today's episode, guys. As always, if you have more questions about homesteading, drop them down below. I love this life. I think that it's hard. I think that it's rewarding. I think that it's worthwhile. I think good fence makes for better neighbors and safer animals and less headaches. I think it's probably more expensive than you think, but once you're in it, you kind of can't picture doing it any other way. And honestly, my best advice is just start. Your fencing will never be perfect. Your enclosure will probably never feel right. If that's how you operate, then you probably already building your chicken coop right now. But if you are letting things like fencing or infrastructure, while important, but if you feel like those are like the one crutch, the one thing that's keeping you from getting started, we did all of this backwards. We always got the animals before the enclosures were finished. We always did it the wrong way. And you know what? I don't regret it at all. We've definitely learned a lot for sure. So that's what we have for today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.